Take two. Welcome into Sunday Scaries Week 9 with Nutmeg 2 Palmetto and my faithful co-host, Bucs McGee, my gridiron co-host.
Yes.
Or Sunday Scaries, or maybe we should call it Sunday Shit Show.
You can call it whatever you want, sir. It's Victory Sunday. You call it whatever you want.
He's basking in a fresh glow off a Vegas special down in Tampa Bay.
Hey, I didn't bet on that game. I wouldn't have been a fool to do it. But a win is a win. You take it how it is.
We'll break that down a little bit more in a bit. So let's start right off at the top. What's the first game we got? Oh, a team that is in the mix, but a bit of a disappointment from what they were probably expected to be this year, and a team that was not expected to be anything, but has been a lot more competitive than anyone thought. Here I go, call them San Diego as usual. The Chargers going into hot Atlanta to take on the Falcons. Falcons got off 10-0 start. Chargers charged back. See what I did there? 14-0.
Nice. I like it.
14-0 at half. Got a little chippy back and forth, and Chargers wound up closing out 20-17. So, I mean, what's the bigger take? I mean, obviously you're thrilled by this because you currently still have the tiebreaker over Atlanta for first place, the sub 500 first place in the NFC South. But I mean, what's the takeaway from this? Is this a kind of moral victory for the Falcons that they hung in there with a team that was supposed to be so good, or is this like a not necessarily negative on the Chargers, but kind of what do you guys doing? Yeah, you won, but you should win by a lot more than 3 over this team.
All right, we'll start with the Falcons' take on it. I think the Falcons probably in that locker room alone believe that they can win. Like, let's be honest, they've battled, they've played well this year. Let's be honest. You look at that team. People probably would have thought they would have been 1-8 after today. You know, they're a hodgepodge of pieces. They've been competitive, so you give them that credit. They're playing for themselves. They know what they are. But I think sooner or later they have to realize that as the season goes on, you're going to need talent because you're going to start to hit the teams that have the talent, that have been there before, that know how to win. So for them, okay, it's a moral victory for them. Okay, we hung with the Chargers, but I think part of them are like, we should have won. And I think they should have. You know, they've shown that they can stick. Chargers, that's a game where we should have beat them a little too close than it should have been. But those are like the trap games. We won our trap game. Their defense is still a little beat up. You know, I think J.C. Jackson's still out. So they've got some pieces that are nicked up. So they won, but I'm sure they would have liked a little bit more of a dominant performance. But in the league, you take it when you get it.
That's right. I mean, what's their outlook? Can they still hang with Kansas City right now, or are they just kind of sitting in that wild card spot, just make sure you get one of them?
I don't know if they can hang with KC. I think the next 3 to 4 weeks are going to be pivotal. They're going to have to kind of get on – their offense is going to have to kind of get on track, show some consistency. I know Mike Williams was out today. You know, they have to stay away from the injury bug. They're going to have to find a flow, a rhythm. They've kind of been up and down offensively and defensively. They've been beat up. So I don't know. I think, honestly, if I was them, I'm not looking at KC. I don't think you can sit there and say, okay, this is what we've got to be. They've got to look at themselves and just take it a week at a time. And I think the wild card should be a mark for them. And if they can get healthy and get into a rhythm, they could be that dangerous team in the wild card for sure.
The upcoming weeks may indeed prove to be the breaking point because they have to go on the road to San Francisco next. And then they host Kansas City for the rematch of that Thursday nighter that they fell short.
And is that in LA?
That is in LA. Yes, the first game was at Arrowhead. That's 2 very tough games for a team that barely got out of Atlanta.
Yeah, exactly. You know, health-wise, I think Keenan Allen will be back next week. I don't think he played today. So that'll help him a bit. But if they get into a shootout with the Chargers, I mean, with the Chiefs, they could. They could pull it out because the Chiefs defensively are rough, So I could see them maybe pulling that out if it becomes a shootout. But against San Fran right now, San Fran's feeling themselves. I don't know. I don't see them beating San Fran.
Right. I think they're on bye this week too, because I don't recall seeing any San Francisco action today.
No, they were on bye.
Yeah. Next up, one of the games you got in the 1:00 hour, a little more competitive. Well, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe that's just being too harsh on the Bears. But it certainly was considerably more competitive than Vegas thought it would be. Dolphins only a couple weeks now getting Tua back. They head up to Windy City. It's getting cold up there, but not quite super cold yet.
No.
They wound 21-17, barely up at half. So get not necessarily struggling, but definitely Bears hanging tough. Bears wind up only losing by 3. So is this despite the fact that you gave up 32 points to the Bears, is this kind of like a sign of the Dolphins getting their fins back under them?
If I'm the Dolphins, I'm saying, okay, hold on a minute. If you think the first 3-4 weeks of the season, their defense was pretty solid. They were playing well. Their defense was good. Now you're giving up 35 points. Are you starting to hang your hat where you're like, the offense is going to bail us out all the time? Do you believe your offense is that good? Now, mind you, they're explosive. We've said on the show here, you've got the 2 fastest receivers here in the league, and Waddle and but can you really depend on them in the fourth quarter kind of deal? I don't know. I think they're an all or nothing type of offense, explosive. But the Bears hung around, and I think this game was more of, hey, we're letting Justin Fields be Justin Fields. You never would have saw this.
Yards.
You never would have saw this in the Nagy era. You never would have saw this. And I think you're starting to see him develop, and you start getting them some pieces. They're going to be a team that's going to progress. So I think this was more of the Bears we can hang and giving them more confidence. But the Dolphins are going to have to start looking and saying, if we're giving up 32 points, if we do that to the Bills, we're going to lose.
They did just get him a weapon last week. My memory's escaping me, but they did just get Justin Fields a weapon this week.
Got what's his name from Philly? Claypool.
Oh, yes, from the Steelers.
Claypool.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Claypool's a solid receiver. I don't know if he's going to be your number one. He could develop into it. I think Pittsburgh was a hodgepodge of receivers, so you never really knew the last year or so who was the true number one.
Right.
He could be something because I think he's better than Allen Robinson. So I think now you come on him, please.
One of your favorite punching bags.
Smile on my face. I think you're going to start to see, as the season goes on, this Bears offense kind of morph and is going to truly become, by the end of the season, Justin Fields' offense. And then they're going to start getting the pieces that will fit in there for him. So I think this is the first of many steps for Chicago. But the Dolphins better be careful.
That's right. Next up, one of my 1 o'clock games, all the joyous occasion that this was to watch. The Joe Mixon show, as it turned out to be. I honestly thought, now with the Falcons, similar to the Falcons, with how hard they've played this year with as little as they have to work with, the Panthers probably have even less to work with. And what they did have to work with has either gotten hurt or been traded. And they've still been playing some competition on the field, and they just got the doors blown off of them from jump today.
It's like the Panthers have a sign-up sheet at the front of the stadium. The first 12 guys have 2 sheets. The first 12 on each side get to play. I didn't even know. I was like, who's playing what? Baker all of a sudden made an appearance. Mixon was a beast. I was like, are you kidding me? 4 touchdowns, 153 yards. Like, you always knew Mixon had the talent, but you felt that it was kind of held in check because of the wide receivers.
Right.
So now is it a situation where they're like, maybe, we like our receivers, but Chase isn't out there, so we don't trust them 100%. So let's just start pushing Mixon.
And that was a little bit of fool's gold today because I'm thinking, okay, no Chase. Who knows what's going to happen with the Bengals offense, how it's going to work now. I know in theory, on paper, they've got enough weapons to make up the difference, but on paper and on the field, they do different things. So I'm thinking like, okay, this is a team that's played tough in spite of everything that says they shouldn't.
Exactly.
and Bengals are down with their best weapons. So maybe this will be close. They're probably still going to lose, but maybe it'll still be close. Nope.
No. And my thought was this like they were going to say, all right, Joe, really throw the ball. Let's keep these guys in rhythm. Boyd and Higgins, like, let's see what's going on. But they totally flipped the script and said, okay, we're going to run the heck out of the ball and let's just see what happens. And proof is in the pudding.
Right.
Now, I don't think you're going to get away with this playing against, KC, Buffalo, or anything like that. This works for Carolina because, like we said, Carolina, who knows? You ask the casual fan, name 5 guys on Carolina, 3 guys on Carolina, they're going to look at you and be like, they're going to be, all right, wait a minute. The guy who does the commercials on TV for, insurance, what's his name? That's all they know, Baker. They only know Baker, if you're lucky.
Naming 5 of them is a diehard.
Exactly. The fact that I think I can do it is I feel impressed with myself.
Yeah. I might need to drive up. I'm going to need to drive up there and look for that sign-up sheet on the door. I think it might be a thing.
If I can just sit on the bench and then just give me some gear to wear, I'll make it look good. But I'm not going out there. No, man. I love myself way too much.
Cheers, but, yeah. Blue Eyes. Thanks for joining the live. How are you? Now, as far as the Bengals are concerned, I guess we'll find out if they're really back in it after tomorrow night, if the Saints can pull off something, a little bit of an upset. But are the Bengals back? Similar to Miami being the question, is Miami back now that Tua has been back in the lineup a few weeks? Is Cincinnati back? Are they back to being somewhat close to the team that we saw go to the Super Bowl last year?
Nope. I think if you were grading it, it's an incomplete because you don't have Jamar Chase. Let's be honest. If Jamar Chase wasn't on that team last year, they're not making the Super Bowl. That magical run doesn't happen. Now, mind you, Higgins and Boyd are nice number 2s and number 3s complementary pieces, but your offense isn't running through them. So I think the Bengals right now are just hoping to be competitive because they're saying, 4 to 6 weeks? I think they said last week with Chase. So maybe he comes back sooner because, he could be a freak healer. He could be back in just 4 weeks or maybe 3. I think right now the Bengals are going to look at each game. I think they were happy they got Carolina. They're going to look at the next probably 3 games and say, okay, depending on who they're playing, can we, play 500? Let's make sure that whoever, we're supposed to beat, we do beat. And then, if it's someone who it's like, we don't know, we just, play it by ear. But I can't say that for sure now until Chase is back and they're, back to full strength.
So what happens if you're thinking fool's gold? Let's say for argument's sake, Baltimore does fall tomorrow night. Is it going to be fool's gold then in the Bengals' minds for being tied for first? Now, I guess that's a two-folded question because that also brings into faith, or brings into question how much faith you have in Baltimore.
I don't know what Baltimore is. Like, I really don't. It's Jamar and a bunch of I don't know what. Who's healthy, who isn't healthy. The defense is decent. Secondary is sus, but I don't know. I think the Bengals should be strong enough to take that division. Let's be honest. They have the pieces. I think the Bengals are going to watch tomorrow night and hope they fall. Come on now. If it's your new division, of course you want your guy to fall. But then, you sit there and say, okay, if they lose to the Saints, are we really worried about them? I think you still should, regardless. But I think it gives you a little extra. Okay, they lost. Now we do what we got to do. Now, if they blow the doors off the Saints, then maybe you start thinking, okay, maybe they're starting to kind of figure out who they are. We got to keep an eye on things, but I really don't think they watch that game either way. I think they're just more concerned about what they're going to be doing the next 4 weeks, at least without Chase.
Oh, the next game up, I think this is probably your favorite collapse to watch this season.
Oh,
at one point this season, the Packers are going to have to be due to get another win. They're going to have to be due.
Why? They don't have to get a darn thing. Let's be honest.
You think they'll be 3-15?
You know what? Maybe that's what they need. Maybe Aaron needs to go through. Maybe Aaron Rodgers needs to go through that to kind of realize that I am not in my own mind, the greatest of all time, and people need to do what I need them to do because I don't want to work with guys. I want to run them through the mud, and they're just supposed to be like, oh, but it's Aaron Rodgers, so I should just do what he says. Let's be honest here. Let's be realistic here. All right, back-to-back MVP, blah, 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 whatever. I'm sorry to tell you, Aaron, no. If you were smart and you were about that team and you wanted to win, you would have took a little less and said, give me some more. You had, his left guard hobbling out there. The guy shouldn't even have been out there. Bakhtiari? No.
Yeah.
They were pulling him in and out all game. If you've got to pull your left guard in and out throughout the whole game, there's a problem. The guy's walking on toothpicks, okay, popsicle sticks. His knee's going to go. But you're expecting Aaron to throw like a Hail Mary like he did against Detroit a couple years ago, like he did on Monday night, and, ooh, here he is. No. He got smacked by the Lions. Jared Goff did it. Great game. Give the Lions some dang credit. Let's give them credit. They fought. They were ugly. That defense stopped the nosebleed finally.
Yes.
That defense, those kids played their hearts out.
And that's a hell of a nosebleed to stop in the form of whatever X-time MVP Aaron Rodgers is.
Exactly. Mr. 3-6.
A 3-6, which only is a half game better than the Lions in the standings. The Packers could very well, if the Lions could ever get their act together this year, the Packers very much could be a last place team this year.
Exactly. They could be the worst team in their division. But no, honestly, that game was just a walking IR. Like everyone who could get hurt got hurt on that game. People were out. I didn't even know who was going to be there at the end of the game. It was unreal. But I'm going to give the Lions credit. That defense played hard. They didn't back down. They weren't like, ooh, it's Aaron Rodgers. They didn't care. They were playing to win, and they won point blank.
Next game up, I would be a lot more upset about this if we weren't in complete full-on tank mode, which we rightfully should be. But holy cow, 9 sacks on Sam Ehlinger? Holy disaster. I mean, this is a game that always meant something to me in the past. Right now, I don't even care about it.
That's right, because you're getting your Panthers gear ready, right? You done ordered your Panthers jersey?
Baby. I gotta go free agent for a couple of years and just go to games as a casual neutral fan.
That's it. Just go there, and wherever you feel at home, that's where you go.
Yeah.
You had to know that Belichick was sitting there going. He sat there in the dark corner of his office with his hood on, the Sith Lord himself, and said, "Okay, what are we gonna do?" Unfortunately, the Colts O-line is beat up, banged up. Taylor didn't play today, I don't think, correct?
Probably not.
I believe Taylor was out again.
I don't know why Taylor's playing at all right now.
He was out.
You should shelve Taylor until next year. There is no reason to play that man. Do not put any more mileage on those legs than needs to be.
No. You're right. If I were the Colts, and yeah, you don't want to tank, but you know what? If you got these young guys, let them play. If you're trying to put out, a superstar who's barely 80%, and you want to limp into the playoffs just to get blown out, that does you no good. The only reason you're doing that is because you're hoping to maybe get a home game.
That's right.
But yeah, Belichick was sitting there scheming, and that's just the way it's always been forever and a day. If you're a young quarterback and you see the Pats on your schedule, say forget it. Can we just bring in Andy Dalton for the game? I don't want that. I don't want that.
The leading rusher actually was Ellinger, believe it or not. They didn't even. So Taylor, the quarterback. So Taylor didn't play, and Deion Jackson didn't even get a looks either.
I figured he would have gotten he would have gotten some serious play.
No, only 11 carries. 11 carries and 2 catches, 2 receptions. Which honestly, I like Deion Jackson. I as far as I'm concerned, I don't want to see him in the game either. Because what happens if Taylor goes full on Zeke mode from here on out and dogs until we trade him?
Oh, if he does that, then that's a mess. Then you guys are better off. Get a haul for him. But like I said, at the end of the day, you knew Belichick was going to scheme some funky stuff, and unfortunately the Colts just don't have the pieces. They don't have the pieces, and Frank Reich he's trying to survive. This is something where it's not his fault. You got injuries. The Matt Ryan, maybe they should have yanked him and threw Matt Ryan in there. I know you couldn't, because then it's like, all right, but 9 sacks. I guess you got to take your lumps. This is Sam's time to say, hey, I want to be the guy going forward, because let's be realistic. The talk now in Indy is probably, do we go? We're looking at the draft. Let's be honest. Right. They're looking at the draft for a quarterback. The team is not built for let's get the 1-year rental, former superstar quarterback who's on his last leg and who may take us through the playoffs. The team is not
tried that twice now.
Yeah, you're 0-2. 0-2 on that. Okay, now I'll tell you this. If they had gotten Matt Ryan instead of Rivers that year, I think they probably would have had a decent shot.
Right.
I think Rivers was just hanging on to dear life. So Frank Reich isn't going to tank anything. Those guys are going to play and play hard, but I'm think at this point they're starting to look towards the draft.
Hey, as far as I'm concerned, there's no one in the team better at tanking than the Indianapolis Colts.
Hey, you know what? Everyone has to hang their hat on something. And if you can do that and you're going to cash in, then you do it. You do it. I'm all about it.
Craft Bruiser, all you missed was my is my lamenting to my eventual walk off the plank of being a Colts fan. That's all you missed.
It's going to be okay. Like I said, you'll look good in the Panther blue and whatever else black and whatever else they got. If you want that Baker jersey for Christmas, let me know. I got you.
Okay.
I got you.
Final point on this game before we move on. You brought up Belichick a lot for obvious reasons, because his track records against inexperienced quarterbacks. Why the hell is he sticking with Mac Jones? Bailey Zappi was lighting shit up, and all of a sudden you go back to this bum?
I love the Zappi, man. I will not lie. I will tell you that if Zappi had been named the starter, I may have gone back into my old NFL.com account and bought myself a Zappi jersey. I won't lie. I think that kid's got something. The older people say moxie or whatever, but I don't know.
Moxie, yeah.
I think it's a pride thing with him. He's gonna hang his hat on Mac Jones and say, this is the guy I brought in. I'm going to stick with him. He can make it work. I don't think it can. I don't think Mac Jones is a bad quarterback. I think he needs an actual offensive coordinator and time to grow and actual real pieces. The Patriots don't have real pieces. This isn't the Patriots of 20 years ago, 15 years ago. The Brady Patriots. He doesn't have the big tight end. He doesn't have the receivers that can run the slants and all of that. He doesn't have that. He has a hodgepodge of pieces that you pulled off of other people's scrap heaps, which he used to do and be great at, and he's lost that touch. Let's be realistic. The days of Corey Dillon are over. Randy Moss are over. He doesn't have that touch anymore. Kendrick Bourne, Aguilar, like these guys were almost traded. Like, let's be real.
I think he
These
lost
guys,
that.
He's lost it. And Mac Jones in the right system could be good, but he has to be in a system where he doesn't have to be the guy. And I think he feels the pressure of being the guy. Because let's be honest, you follow Brady, you're a lose-lose situation.
Right. You cannot follow that up.
No.
If Bill knew what was good for him, he would have retired right when Brady left.
He would have said, you know what, this is a wrap. But, well, no, because, let's not forget, he was the guy who said, nope, time to move on. We don't need him anymore. This, that, and the other thing. He's over the hill. Okay, well, now you got Mac Jones, who a lot of people said coming out of the draft was the most prepared, was the most pro-ready quarterback. Maybe in another system, not in this Patriot system, because he didn't have.
Maybe if Kyle Shanahan had him.
Exactly. Exactly. Because I don't even know who the coordinator is. I think Matt Patricia's running some of that offense. Like, I'm serious. I think the Belichick kids and Gerard Mayo, former linebacker, are the defensive heads, and Matt Patricia, the Detroit Lions head coach, all of a sudden, is an offensive guy. Come on now. No one knows what's going on. So, no. I think Zappe should be the guy. Probably not going to happen. It's going to be a situation where he'll get cut, he'll sign on with somebody, and end up making them look like fools.
Yeah, it's just so weird to me that juxtaposing this to leaving Bledsoe behind and going with Brady. It just boggles my mind. Why was Drew Bledsoe someone worthy of giving up and moving on with a young guy, but Mac Jones isn't?
I don't know. It is. It's really weird. You would sit there and say, because Bledsoe was a first-round pick. Mac Jones was a first-round pick. Zappe and Brady were later-round picks. He must see something in Jones, and he's going to die on that hill.
Yeah, aside from Bledsoe's accolades that he had accomplished at that point in his career, they are pretty comparable scenarios.
I think Jones is going to have a couple games where he's throwing 2 or 3 picks, just, costs them some games, and then he's going to let him write his ticket out. That's the only way it's going to happen, where he has no choice. So.
Oh, speaking of the AFC East.
They're 5-4, though. Give them that.
That's right. Speaking of the AFC East. Oh, God. You know what? I knew this was going to happen. And I let a buddy of mine talk me out of picking the Jets to cover because he's a Jets fan, and he was saying, like, we're garbage. We are, if we wind up down big, that's a wrap, because the MILF Hunter is not going to be able to pass for a whole second half to keep him in the game or even win the game. And I don't know what's going on with Buffalo. We forgot to do it at the top of the show, so I guess we'll do it at the end, giving out the mid-season awards.
Of course.
Buffalo was certainly contender to get a mid-season award, and I don't feel any confident in giving them any kind of awards after the last 2 weeks. They ran out big on the Packers. They got up big. They let them back, and they almost blew the game. They ran out big on the Jets today. They got a big lead. They let the Jets back in the game. Jets wind up closing it out and taking the dub. Like, what? I don't know what's going on with the Bills right now. Like, this is like, I don't know. Is this like a first half team thing? Is this like a Kansas City light switch thing? But at least Kansas City's got a Super Bowl before. Like, Buffalo doesn't have anything. Like, what is going on with Buffalo?
All right. If it wasn't the Jets and it was another team, I know exactly where you're going. But don't forget, we always say when it's divisional, we always, when me and you sit and talk and we do, when we get the schedules and we, do our picks and stuff like that, we always split it. So to me, it wouldn't have surprised me that they lost, knowing that I believe they play later on in the season, and in theory, the Bills will blow their doors off. Don't forget, I think you always have those games where you're like, you look past. And I think Buffalo kind of looked past them, let's be honest. But Buffalo has an issue. Who they can't run the ball. They don't run the ball consistently. They don't have a running back, really. Right. Like, they don't. You let Josh Allen run all willy-nilly, he's going to end up like Drew Bledsoe. It's going to happen. And Buffalo fans can tell me till they're blue in the face, oh, but he's bigger and stronger, yada, yada. It takes one hit the right way, and Matt Barkley's going to be quarterbacking you guys for the rest of the year. And do you think you're going to Arrowhead or the Chiefs are coming into town and you're going to beat them to get to the Super Bowl? No, you're not. Let's be realistic here.
You're going to be rolling out the red carpet for the AFC East champion Miami Dolphins.
Exactly. You're gonna make Mac Jones look like a Pro Bowler, a legit Pro Bowler, not a voted in guy. But in the post game conference, Allen said he played like shit. He wasn't there. I think they looked past the Jets, but they need a consistent run game. I think if they were all in, and there was talk of McCaffrey going there, they were maybe trying to get Kareem Hunt. They need a legit running back. You drafted some guys, brought some guys in. If these aren't your guys, you've got to figure out something offensively where you're getting something. You need a run game, and they don't have it.
They have they have a ton. Like you said, they have a ton of running backs on the roster. They have a ton of bodies, but not one of them works.
No, maybe.
And I love Nyheim Hines, but he's not an every down back. He's a stat back.
Exactly. He's your third down James White guy.
Yeah.
You don't have a guy who's going to give you 3 downs of pound or 3 downs of quality work. You don't. And I think what's going to happen is that's going to fail them in the playoffs. If this keeps happening, it's going to fail them. They got lucky with the Packers because the Packers just a hodgepodge of mess. But you're not going to be able to out-talent everybody every week. It's not going to happen. They're going to catch on.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised by it, but this should be a warning to them saying, okay, we need to figure out what we need. And it's not another wide receiver.
No.
Maybe it's addition by subtraction. Maybe, you look because you got a lot of decent receivers. Package something in the offseason, get yourself something. But you need a legit number one running back, and they don't have that.
And as far as looking past is concerned, it does not get any easier next week. They do have the Minnesota Vikings. And then they have to go into the dog pound, which I don't believe that will be a Watson game. But
no, Watson is Houston.
Yeah.
Watson's week 12.
Yeah, 12. Okay, so that would be the following week. That would be the following week. Yeah, so that is on Thanksgiving? Holy crap.
You didn't think you thought the league didn't plan that?
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. I'm still looking at Buffalo's schedule. That's my fault. Never mind. No. The Cleveland Browns would not be playing on Thanksgiving. I don't think that's ever going to happen.
If they had given Baker one more year, they would have. Tired of Baker not getting his respect.
That's right. So, yeah, I mean, your next game up is Minnesota, which I guess there's not really a rivalry in there unless it's a rivalry for postseason ineptitude. Because, I mean, let's face it, Buffalo and Minnesota are two of the most heartbreaking postseason resumes in NFL history.
Yeah, at least the Bills got there. Vikings just got ripped off and never can get in.
Their doors blown off them by what was his name? Kerry Collins.
Oh, Kerry Collins. Former Carolina Panther. Great. See, Chase, it's a sign. It's a sign.
It keeps coming up.
Keeps coming up.
Speaking of those Minnesota Vikings, they had another game where they barely got out of Dodge with a win. They went down to the Commanders, and I feel like Washington was definitely due for a reality check because they had a big win over the Packers. They had a big end of the game win against the Colts. Now, to me, neither of those should be a surprise because the Packers and the Colts aren't good.
Yeah,
this
they're
year.
not. Yeah, to me, they're not big. They're not big wins, but the Commanders are in flux. You got Heineke, who just, basically the starter until, Wentz comes back for whatever reason. They're getting Chase Young. They got, I don't know if Chase Young, I don't think Chase Young played, but he's supposedly on his way back. So the Commanders are like that little engine that could. They've got some pieces, I think this, like Miami, should have been a bit of a wake-up call, like, hey, we need to get it together. And with Buffalo, like, hey, we should have played a little better. You don't wait till the fourth quarter, put up 13 points, and, you got to put away the pesky Commanders.
That's right. Yeah, do the math real quick. The Washington was up 10-7 through 3.
So it's Washington still trying to figure themselves out. The Vikings should have put up some points, but they pulled it out. So that makes next week's game a little more interesting because with Buffalo and the Vikings, who's going to clean it up?
That's right.
Who's the more complete team at that point?
And if the answer to that question is Minnesota, serious question marks for the Bills.
Yeah, if Kirk Cousins comes in and smacks you around, then you really need to ask yourself some questions. I don't know what the answers are, but you have to ask yourself some questions.
That's right. Final 1:00 game of the day. Did you have this one? The hapless Raiders. They actually got off to a pretty decent start. They're up 20-10.5. And the Jags finally closed out a game. Pulled away 27-20 in the fourth. Etienne had another huge game, 100 plus yards and 2 scores. And I thought the Jags should have won this because I can't trust the Raiders farther than I can throw them this year. Is there anything possible to take out of this game, or should we just move on?
If I'm the Raiders, I'm sitting there saying, did we really need McDaniels as a head coach? Was he the smart move? Because they have talent. Let's be honest. The Raiders on paper have talent everywhere. You know what it is? They're not nasty. They are not a nasty team, meaning they don't have an edge. Like, when they come to town, like, Carr seems like the happiest guy in the world. Like, if I scrape my knee, he'll pick me up. If we're on opposite teams, he'll give me a Band-Aid and an alcohol wipe and make sure I'm okay during the game. Maybe bring me some brownies. Like, he's just a nice guy. Like, there's the meme of him sitting on the bench with his eyes all rolled. No, that guy does not exist. That guy does not exist. They need to have the identity that when they walk in, people hate them. They need to put their foot on a throat, snap a neck or something. And they don't have that toughness. Now, mind you, I've said this before. I think the Jags are a team that in the next couple of years, they have talent. And they're gonna start doing some things. But the Raiders should have beat them. Raiders should have beat them. I feel the Raiders have the talent, but they don't have that edge. And the Jags came in and said, here we go. T-Law said, whoop-de-doo, and here you go.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the Jags as an up-and-coming team. I was a little disappointed they well, not necessarily disappointed because Indy, I certainly don't want the Jags to do well. But I guess I was a little bit surprised they didn't exactly get off to a good start this year. But
right.
I mean, I guess technically they did, and then they fell off after that. But there's a lot of talent that maybe it's just getting used to a new system, because I definitely expect them to take off at some point.
I don't know, but if the Raiders are going to take off, they need to take off the next 3 or 4 games.
Well, the Raiders aren't taking off anywhere. I'm talking about the Jags. The only thing the Raiders are taking off is 2 weeks from work.
Yeah, I think the Jags are going to be that team that, they'll play some games, they'll surprise some people. And like I said, they're gonna be an up and coming team as long as they keep that culture strong like they've started to. I think they've got young talent all around. The Raiders have talent, just don't have the right head coach. I just don't think McDaniels is the answer.
No.
So I don't know. I have no words for the Raiders. It's like disappointment. We'll see what happens. That's all you can say.
There are only 2 4 o'clock games. And don't you worry, we'll get to your moment in the limelight, in the spotlight, in a second. We'll talk about the other ones. Another hapless team this year, the Arizona Cardinals, fall again to the standing solo in first place, 6-3 Seattle Seahawks.
Gino, second best quarterback in the NFC. Gino. I'll die on that hill. Gino.
I mean, I don't know if we can necessarily take anything away from this game because the Seahawks should have done this. I don't know why they were even dogs in this game. They were getting 2 points. I don't know why they were dogs.
Because no one believes
being on the road.
No one believes in the Seahawks. They're waiting for the wheels to fall off. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Because Russ left. Oh, then there must be something wrong in Seattle. Oh, so you just take Gino? Was he the best option there was? Because he was, because Drew Lock was just Drew Lock is Drew Lock. So Gino,
Drew Lock don't care about nothing but banging his supermodel girlfriend.
No, he's wearing those hoodies, cashing those checks. Hey, I'm not gonna blame you. God bless you, man. Do you? Then he'll have like 7 or 8 insurance, offices back to wherever he's from, living the life. Do you? Do some autograph signings. Hey. But yeah, everyone's waiting for the wheels to fall off. And Gino's like, I don't care what anybody says. I'm going to do me. And Carroll's letting them do it, and they're 6-3. So, hey, all the power to Gino. The man's going to be comeback player of the year at this rate. And I'd vote for him. I'll give him a little MVP love.
To me, that's so funny. Seeing that you just said it. To me, that's so funny that Carroll is willing to let Gino chuck it around, but Russ couldn't get the light of day.
Russ can't cook here, but Gino, you go ahead and microwave. You go ahead and put whatever you go ahead, light that up. I think what it is, and you read articles about how people felt that Russ was about himself and building his brand, and that's what it was. And he wasn't a team guy. I think those guys rally around Gino because he's one of them. Because let's be honest, they're except for Lockett, Metcalf. And that's probably it. Everyone else is just a hodgepodge of guys. And they're like, you know what? They look to this guy and say, hey, you know what? He's right where we are right now. No one believes in us. If he can do this, we're going to ride with him. And I think that's what it is. They have the me against the world mentality. And they're going to be dangerous.
Big picture. For all the issues the NFC has, the NFC still has a much bigger cream of the crop than the AFC does right now. Does Seattle actually have a chance? They've put together a very impressive first half of the season. Do they actually have a chance to stick with Philly, Minnesota, when, assuming San Francisco is going to take off at some point now because they've looked really good the last couple of weeks with McCaffrey? Like, do they really have a chance to stick with them? And Dallas, not to forget about Dallas.
Here's the thing, and I'm always a big proponent of you play your schedule, you don't make your schedule. Whoever's in front of you, that's who you play. If you look at Philly's schedule, they haven't really played anybody that's been like, ooh, like really like, oh man. Like if they had beaten on this road so far of undefeatedness, and we all know what that gets you.
You more than anyone.
Still got those shirts in the closet. What you talking about? But if they had played, Buffalo, KC during this, then I'd be like, okay, Philly. I think people are waiting for the Eagles to get tested. So I don't buy into it, but I think taking losses is good. At the end of the day, it toughens you up. And I think as the Seahawks continue through the season, they're going to become a team that knows exactly who they are, what they can do, what they can't do. And when times get tough, they're going to be able to handle that. It's the adversity aspect. And I think that's what may be the downfall of, let's say, the Eagles and such like that. So, no, I think you have to mention the Seahawks in them. Yeah, they've got 3 losses, but I think they're a tough team.
And as far as you are as good as who you play, I mean, just looking over the the Eagles' schedule. I mean, Detroit took a while to get going, so that wasn't much. I mean, I'll give them credit for beating Minnesota because Minnesota's been a very good team this year.
Okay, Minnesota.
Washington, no. Jacksonville, no. Arizona, no. Dallas, because it was before it was during the Cooper Rush run.
Exactly. I can't hang. Yeah, if Cooper Rush was averaging 360 yards and 3 touchdowns a game and lighting it up, then okay, here you go. Didn't miss a beat, but no.
And then off the bye, Pittsburgh and Houston, which whoop-de-doo.
So yeah, Houston almost beat you. Like we all were sitting here that game waiting for it. We were ready to pop bottles and say, "Woo, Houston!" So
and as far as coming up next, they got a Monday nighter next week. Whoa, look at that break! A Thursday nighter followed by a Monday nighter. That's a hell of a break for the Eagles.
That's a break, and you know what? Sometimes it's not the best thing.
It's not like right, too much rust.
Exactly. It's not like it's baseball or basketball where you're playing 5 or 7 game series.
Right. And so they got the Monday night against Washington, short week against one of the biggest preseason overestimated teams, the Indianapolis Colts. And then the following week on Sunday night, another game against another contender for the all overrated, overestimated bowl, the Green Bay Packers.
Who did they pay? Who did they pay for this schedule?
Like, no, I'm not done yet. You're gonna love this next.
It's like, and that's not all, folks included.
The next game, their most hardest game left on the schedule, aside from the rematch against Dallas. The Tennessee Titans. Whoop-dee-doo.
Wow.
Giants 1, Chicago, Dallas 2, the Saints, and Giants 2 to wrap up the season.
Wow. Gardner Minshew
cement into the ground. Just to cement into the ground your point about Philly having played no one in this sparkling run of undefeatedness. Washington, Indy, Green Bay, Tennessee, Giants twice, Chicago, Dallas, and New Orleans. Who did they pay off? Seriously.
It is what it is. It is what it is. That's why we play the games. They'll end up, what's going to happen is they're going to end up taking a lot. They will lose a game, and it's going to be one of those things when people are going to start looking. It's going to be something. I can feel it. But you know what? They're not there yet. Give them all the glory right now. But
what are the odds that one game will be to a dumb team like the Colts or New Orleans versus a good team like Dallas?
I think it could be Chicago. Could be Chicago. Could be something like that.
Cold weather.
Mm-hmm. Now,
I guess Philly's a cold weather team too.
I definitely would say Dallas because, like I said, their defense. Dallas's defense is great. It's just whether Dak can play solid ball. Because I have yet to see Dak be that quarterback where I'm like, oh man, it's the fourth quarter. Oh man, you're down by like 5 or 6. Give Dak the ball. No, he doesn't strike that fear into me. So we'll see what happens. But right now, Philly's it. So let them ride. But no, the Seahawks, Geno, I applaud you. I applaud Geno, man. Going from taking punches,
15 and 2 fool's gold.
Going from taking punches in New York and the Jets getting punched in the jaw to being the starter in Seattle and leading the division.
Well, I mean, speaking of playing your schedule, and you are as good as who you play. Let's look at Seattle. Next week they got Munich game, right? Munich game against Tampa.
Yes, the first game ever in Germany.
And they got the woefully aforementioned underachieving Vegas Raiders. The woefully underachieving Los Angeles Rams.
They could lose one of those 2 games.
The mess that is the Carolina Panthers.
No, good God.
And then Geno will finally get some competition. And mind you, this is hella more competition than the Philadelphia Eagles are getting that we just went over. Thursday nighter against the Niners, KC, and the Jets. Before they wrap up with a home game against the Rams.
Ooh, those. I don't care about the Jets. Whatever. That's more of a okay. He's coming back and he's gonna sock it to him kind of deal. You didn't want me, now here I am. But yeah, those two, Chiefs and the Niners. That's interesting right there. Not only for the Niners because it's divisional, but the Niners are hot right now. So. And then, of course, the Chiefs are the Chiefs, So that'll be interesting. I think Seattle is a one-game-at-a-time team. They're not going to look too far ahead. And they're just the way the NFC West is, the only team there that I think is legit besides them is the Niners. So They're probably sitting, they're like, okay, we'll just worry about us, and we'll go from there.
All right, here's your moment.
Oh, Victory Sunday! Finally! 3 weeks of garbage.
3 weeks of garbage.
They finally let the greatest of all time do what he does best. All it took was a 2-minute drill. Gonna lose the game. All right, Tom, you do what you do. And you let the man just orchestrate greatness, and we smacked the Rams. Amen. Finally. The game, man. I watched this game, and I was like, okay. Put up 3 points first drive. I'm like, all right, we didn't look too bad. We looked okay. After that, I don't know. Oh, my God, the game was hideous. You let Kupp score on a 69-yard touchdown. I'm like, great. It's the playoffs all over again. All over again. Now, mind you, Winfield's not there, they're at the, playing safety and such. So, but we're still pretty much at full strength. Julio Jones made an appearance. It was the Julio Jones show till he got banged up and limped off or walked off. And then you saw him on the sidelines trying to get back in, and they were like, nah, dude, man, you're just a mess. Just sit down.
Well, now you won't see him again until after Thanksgiving.
Exactly. One game, and then he gets like 3 weeks off.
Which, if you just put the math together, that means you'll see him again after Thanksgiving. Then you won't see him again until he blows up on Wild Card Weekend.
Exactly. All of a sudden, he'll have 10 catches for like 180 yards, 3 touchdowns. Julio's they're slowly prepping him. This game,
I'll be awaiting that text message. That just says, "Bring on Philly!" Yeah.
Bring on Philly. Yep, that's right. We'll take whoever. No, it's us and Gino. It's Brady and Gino for the NFC Championship. Get ready for it.
That's right. It'll be the moment to make your heart break in half.
Exactly. I'm like, my man Tom, or is it my boy Gino? Nope, sorry, Gino. You got to fry. Sorry, bro.
You got to fry.
No, you got to fry. This game was rough to watch. A lot of drop passes on the Tampa side. People can sit there and, say, oh, well, Brady, the divorce, all this other stuff. If you look at the throws, the man gets the ball off faster than just about anybody in the league. I don't care what anybody says, and I'm not being a homer. You can look at it. The throws are there. They're not catching it. The play calling is horrible. The only time they really moved the ball, running the ball, was when they put the rookie in, White. Lenny, I don't know. It was a bad contract. I don't know. All of a sudden, Lenny's lost it. The line is hideous. My boy Vita Vea was awesome. Had a couple sacks. That defense did look sharp, except for the touchdown. This was a game they had to have. This was a game that both the Rams and the Bucs needed. We're 4-5 now, so that's great. You're number 1 in the division. I don't know if you're proud of that, but this is the game where maybe it turns around. They still have a lot of work to do on the offensive end. They really do. Kyle Rudolph actually played a little. They actually scored. The tight ends actually scored a touchdown. It was the first touchdown by the tight ends this year, and it was Auden. Yes, the tight ends had not scored this year. Cade Odden right there. Remember that name, guys. Odden. That kid has got hands. There's going to be whispers by the end of the season, baby Gronk. I feel it. I feel it in my body. That kid has got hands. He's the guy who caught the game-winning touchdown. Don't do it. I'm telling you.
I can't believe that Tom Brady has always had successful tight ends at 9 games to get a touchdown to one of them.
Well, think about it. Cameron Brate is, I don't know, he's out. I don't know if he's coming back this year. Kyle Rudolph was just, I don't know what I think he was just brought in for fun. I don't think he did anything. The two rookies they drafted, now mind you, the two rookies they drafted are good, but both of them have totally different skill sets. Odden is definitely more of the offensive. He can block, but he's the offensive guy. Kieft, it's another one. Kieft right there. I love that kid. He's definitely and gets dirty, can block. So, but the receivers have got to catch. Like Mike Evans dropped like 2. Godwin dropped like 2. So they've got to get the drops he's handled, and they've got to kind of change the play calling. The Rams, I don't know what's going on. I have no idea.
That team.
They still don't have a number 2 receiver. Still don't have a number 2. Van Jefferson is, I don't know what he is. Allen Robinson, I think, had like 2 catches for 12 yards, and I think he thought he was great. I don't know. He was a hot mess. It's Cooper Kupp and a bunch of mess. And their defense is not where it was last year. You have Aaron Donald and just a bunch of It's not what everyone thought it was going to be. So they've got a hole to climb.
Now, hey, who knows if things keep up the way they're going? Maybe we'll be watching a playing game for the division in Atlanta at the end of the season.
Could be. Oh, Lord.
You'll drive up, I'll drive west, and we'll meet each other at the big Chinese takeout box in the sky.
That's it right there. Marcus Mariota playing for a division title. Who would have thought? Who would have thought?
So what I alluded to offline before that I wanted to set up in this game, what I wanted to ask you. Now, obviously, I figured it was actually going to be. I was actually going to be asking you this off a loss because that's what it certainly seemed like until about 40 seconds left in the game.
Right. When you give the GOAT the ball with no timeouts and 40 seconds, orchestrates music.
Those 40 seconds aside, based on what you saw today, based on what you saw this year, in the past, you've said it time and time again. You think this is it, no matter what happens in the post. You think this is it for Tom, regardless of what happens in the postseason.
I have no clue.
But
if you had asked me this question beginning of the year, I thought this was the swan song. This was before, everything came out that, the divorce and all that craziness. I thought this was going to be it because he signed the contract with Fox, $300+ million to go sit in the booth and be Tom Brady, do his thing. So I thought this was going to be the swan song. I really did. I don't know. Now, he's always said, 45, 45 was the number. I played on 45, and then we'll take it year by year. When they won the game today, they shot, they went to the sideline cameras and all that, and he's hugging Leftwich. There's emotion there. Like, it almost felt like it was like the Super Bowl. It was almost like he felt like relieved. It wouldn't surprise me if, let's say, they end up making the playoffs. They get bounced in the first round, let's say. Let's just say that it's just not there. It wouldn't surprise me if he's like, okay, here's the deal. This is what I want. Yeah, you get me this, the A, B, C, and D, because let's be honest, they will give him whatever he wants because the man's going to put up the numbers. The man is still a top 10 quarterback. I don't care what anybody says. If everybody's healthy and he feels that team is a Super Bowl contender, I think he may give it another try. But he may also say, you know what? I saw what this did, to my, my marriage, yada, yada. Maybe it is time. Let me go and try this booth thing. But I think if they get hot and he feels he's got one more in him, he'll play it. It's all whatever he wants to do. If he feels he can play, he's going to play. Any team is going to take him. There were little rumblings that maybe, San Fran would be the place next year.
Go home.
Get that Super Bowl at home. If he was to do that and win, then I could see him definitely saying, okay, now I'm done. So I don't know. I don't know what's in Tom Brady's head. As long as that man's throwing the ball like he does, he can do whatever the man wants.
Well, that was also what I was getting to, because this game was such a mess, and there's been other games this year that have looked equally like a mess. I was going to ask, aside from those last 40 seconds, if you thought he still had it. As objectively as you can.
No. If you look at
all eternity.
He leads the league in yards. It's not like he's throwing for like 800 yards. He's got 10 touchdowns and 1 interception. Yeah, okay, it's not like 16 or 17 touchdowns is what his average would be after this point, but he's not making stupid mistakes. His only interception was the first game of the season. So it's not like he's just chucking the stuff and he's falling off the cliff. He hasn't had the pieces. The pieces have not been consistent for him. He's had to work with what he's had, and the play calling's been miserable. I think this was the first time where he kind of said, you know what, let me do what I do. And that's what he did in that 40-something seconds. I don't know what the Rams were thinking, but anyone who knows football, they're throwing to the sidelines. They had no timeouts. You're telling me you're not going to guard the sidelines? Let them eat up the middle. But no, he made Scotty Miller look great. And Scotty Miller dropped a guaranteed touchdown in this game.
The forgotten man, Scotty Miller.
Yeah, exactly. Whose claim to fame will forever be the touchdown he had against Green Bay. So when he's doing autograph signings in Tampa, that's what he's going to sign as footballs. Green Bay Slayer or something. Who knows? But he could have had a touchdown today. Dropped it. So, no, and that's being objective. You look at his numbers are good. It's just that the pieces around him, he has not had consistency. So he's had to kind of figure this out. The O-line has been putrid. But no, I have no doubt the man has not lost it. Not at all. Anyone watches film and the throws he's had? No, not at all.
Tom Brady, the game manager. Who'd have thunk?
Manager, my tail. The greatest man. The man has thrown for, by the way, over 100,000 yards in his career. The only man to do it. So you can game manage for 20 plus years. You go ahead. Give me them jinglies. Go ahead.
Forecasting time just kicked off a little while ago. Tennessee going against Kansas City. I hated this line, given 12.5. This has backdoor written all over it. Kansas City probably going to run out, get up big, take their foot off the gas. Tennessee going to get back in and lose by 10. This has backdoor dog cover written all over it.
It's only 3-0 now. It's only 3-0. So here's the thing with the Chiefs. The Chiefs have talent, no doubt. Everyone knows the offense. It's Mahomes, and it runs through Kelsey and then everything else. They've got these receivers that pretty much have talent but do one specific thing really well, kind of deal. They've got a decent run game. Buffalo could use that run game. Well,
if you put them together,
if you were to put Kansas City and Buffalo together, then yes, that is your Super Bowl champ. But unfortunately, we cannot.
Yeah.
And Tannehill isn't playing tonight, so it's freaking Malik. It's Malik time again. Yes. So yeah, the Chiefs should blow the doors off of this, but it's one of those things where the X factor is Vrabel will have that team prepared to play.
Yeah,
they do the little things well. So I don't know if it's going to be a blowout. It might be one of those things where they hang for 3 quarters and then pull it out at the end. But yeah, 12, that's you know how it goes. Like you said, unless they jump up big, which so far it doesn't look like it, or the second half they just come out and just start bombing them all over the place. I don't think it's going to be a 12. You told me 9, 10. All right, I give it to you.
Mike Vrabel, the anti-Matt Patricia.
Oh, jeez. Matt Patricia, what a joke. Mr. Pencil, good for get out of here. You weren't really even the defensive coordinator. You told Bill, can I do this? And Bill said, no, do this. That's what it was.
Daddy, please.
Exactly. Daddy, got some more. He said, no, you're going to run stunt. You call it, you're going to like it. You listen to me, you'll get a job with the Lions because that's where everyone wants to coach, the Lions, right?
The Titans going to be I mean, obviously they're gonna be because the division's horrible. But I mean, they backed their way into the division championship last year. They backed their way.
You hate that, don't you? That really bothers you. When you say it, I hear just the anger and the hurt in your chest. You're like, you can't win it outright. You got to back in.
Oh, if a special someone ever watches one of these shows, I'm definitely never getting a text message back again.
Back it in. I see how it goes. Can't do it the right way. Got to do it the easy way, huh?
I mean, they backed their way into home field last year. I mean, this team is luckier than Philadelphia with the breaks they get on an annual basis. This team is not good. I'm sorry. All due respect to King Henry, this team is not good.
Sometimes you just gotta make some deals, man. Sometimes sometimes you sell your soul for that that home field advantage. I don't know. It's the Titans, like you said. They figure out a way to somehow win when everybody loses that week, and that's how it goes. You're either lucky or you're good.
Yeah.
They'll probably win the division and get bombed the first round. I don't know. I never put stock in the Titans. It's like, okay, cool. It's like that shiny toy that is just going to break real quick. Who cares?
Hey, maybe somebody had that mentality in mind when they designed their logos. That's what happened.
Very well could have been.
The shiny toy. The Tennessee Titans, the shiny toy.
The shiny toy. Get you a first round bye, and after that, nothing.
The final week, the final game of the week. We are most certainly not the final week. The final game of the week tomorrow night. We already touched on it a little bit. Baltimore at New Orleans. New Orleans keeps having these little peaks where they look like the competitive New Orleans. Maybe not good New Orleans, but competitive New Orleans. We all kind of expected. And then Baltimore, we're just kind of waiting for them to take off if they're even gonna. Is this it? I mean, if Baltimore goes to 6-3, that's gonna look as good as anybody in the league right now, practically. So, I mean, what are we gonna look at after tomorrow night's game?
Baltimore's getting 1.5, right? So you look at this, and you're like, you basically have to say, can the Saints defense stop Lamar? Because all it is Lamar. The Ravens really don't have a run game, not counting Lamar. Their secondary is really shot. The Saints have pieces. Like the Saints have a good defense. They just haven't played. They haven't played to the standard. They've been nicked up, defensively and stuff, but that defense is still there, pretty solid. The offense, I don't know what you're going to get. Mike Thomas, I think, is out for the rest of the year. I think he's got a toe injury. They're saying that he's going on IR. He's probably going to miss the rest of the year.
What a shock.
The run game is Kamara, but
who is not the Alvin Kamara that Drew Brees had.
No, but at the same time, that's also because he had Drew Brees, and Drew Brees was
correct.
Kamara ran, but he wasn't a banger. He was your receiving back, and because of the offense they ran, that's how they lived. Sean Payton.
He was a better Reggie Bush.
Exactly. So you got Andy Dalton, and you're gonna get what you're gonna get with that. Chris Olave has been a great rookie for them. Great deep threat. I don't even know who's going to win this game. I honestly couldn't tell you. If you made me pick today, I would say the Saints only because they're home. I'd say somehow the Saints would pull it out. There would be some kind of fumble. Their defense would somehow be able to scrap something together. That's it. I don't have faith in the Ravens, even though they beat the Bucs, but the Bucs are whatever. Like, let's be honest here.
Yeah.
So you're 5-3, but is the way the league is now? How much better is 5-3 from 3-5? Let's be honest. Not really much.
No.
It's just whoever you played the first couple weeks of the season. Let's be real. The first couple weeks really have dictated what these teams are.
Yeah.
So I'm taking the Saints just because they're home.
Yeah, we haven't seen a lot of slow starts and then the teams take off and they're back to what we saw. We're seeing a little bit of somebody that took off and then has fallen, the Buffalo Bills. But for the most part, everyone started a certain way, and regardless of how their record is gone, their play really hasn't changed.
Exactly. So I think probably the next 3 to 4 weeks is where you're really going to see what teams are real.
Yeah.
Who are the contenders? Who are the pretenders, as they say.
In a tangible sense, not so much us speaking theoretically.
Exactly. I think you will see, all right, this team, okay, maybe 3-5. They are now 7-5. Okay, maybe this is it. Because then you have the push for the next, you get the next 5 games to really kind of see what's going to happen after that. But that game's a toss-up to me. I'll watch it just because it's football, but yeah, I'm taking the Saints at home.
Yeah. All right. That wraps up this week. So we did a little bit of forecasting as usual. So let's do a little bit of recasting. I don't think that's the right word. The season is half in the books, or at least as much half.
If I knew, then what I knew now.
Yeah. Yes. Or at least as much half in the books as an odd number of games season can be halfway.
Yeah. True,
I guess like the official halfway point is like at the end of the 1:00 games today.
True. So you other guys are just gonna have to wait till next game. Sorry.
So,
but no.
Who's your A?
Are we talking overall or are we going AFC, NFC?
I was thinking overall, but we can break it down.
Right now, today, if you're gonna ask me who is my number one team.
Not your number one team. Who's got an A?
Oh, who got an A?
Because I could take Philly, but I think that's boring. Because it's easy to take the team that's undefeated.
See, I wouldn't take that. But I wouldn't take Philly because of their schedule.
Yeah.
But if you want who gets an A so far?
Like, think of the A grade in terms of performing well and maybe surprising.
If you're talking playing,
but not like Seattle, which is kind of a total surprise.
Right, exactly. If I'm going to give out A's, I would give Buffalo and Kansas City A's. Even though Buffalo lost, I believe those two teams have played more complete games this year than pretty much most of the league. They would be my A's. Philly would be a B+. Now, that's, that goes with the schedule. I know you play who you play, but your schedule has been pretty meh, so that's why I'm giving you the B+. I give Dallas a B. I need to see what Dak can do. I need to see Dak win a game for them, and not their defense. I need their defense to struggle, and I need Dak to really win one, because I don't know if he has that real signature win.
No, yeah, I gotcha. I'll pick up what you're putting down. My A is Minnesota.
Oh, Minnesota. Okay.
Because to me, they're taking advantage of the fact that their division was abysmal this year.
True.
And
true.
again, you can't control that. The
No.
division could look at the NFC South. The division could be abysmal, and you could be abysmal too.
True. True. You could be 4-5. Lead the division. Oh, sorry.
So and juxtaposed to the Titans, who were a fool's gold 5-2, probably gonna be 5-3 after tonight. Minnesota's a sparkling 7-1.
Sparkling 7-1.
Yeah, and that's a team that always has this plethora, immense amount of talent, and they always fall short. So to me, to actually have a record, a tangible evidence that actually backs up how they're playing and how much talent they have, I think that's an A. There really hasn't been a lot of question marks going around Minnesota. Obviously everyone's going to have like, okay, this position or that position, we could have a better player, we could have a little more health, whatever. But for the most part, there hasn't been like a blatant hole on that team.
So do you think Kirk Cousins is an elite quarterback or a quality game manager?
A high quality game manager. Yeah, I don't know. I'd say he's an elite fantasy quarterback. I wouldn't say Kirk Cousins is a elite overall quarterback. Because there has to be balance. To me, you can be elite without winning a ring. But you have to have your team in the position to be in the playoffs, be on Championship Sunday, be in the Super Bowl, win championships. Sometimes it's just dumb luck and you don't get a ring. But you at least have to be in the mix. And he can't even get to the mixing bowl. He's still powdered sugar on the counter. Hopefully he's not snorting any of it, but that's the point.
No, I get it. So then is it more of a product of what's around him than him? Because here's my thing.
Oh, he's had plenty around him.
Yeah. So if it's like, he's down by 4 and he's got like, all right, if you put him in the Bucs game today, 40 seconds, is Kurt winning that game for you?
I think he could. I wouldn't assume that he would.
You think he could?
I think he could. I wouldn't expect him to. I wouldn't think like, 40 seconds with Kirk. This is still up for debate. This is still up for grabs. Like 40 seconds with Tom, I'm thinking, you playing with fire, boy.
And that's why I would give them a B, because I just don't. I put him in the same class as Dak. He's got to prove it to me. Like the only time he's ever had that meme was when he was in Washington and he won that one game and he's running through the hallways yelling, "You, how you like me, blah, 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 blah," and it was like, all right. After that, there's been nothing. So like he's got talent. I'm not saying he's not talented at all.
Well, I don't want to judge. I don't want to grade them this year based on his past. I want to grade on what we've seen this year.
That's true, but the past kind of dictates it in a way, because you're like, all right, they're 7-1. Okay, what happens if they hit the rough patch? What's gonna happen? Like, they're 7-1 now. Does that mean they're gonna, finish off the, win another 5-6 and be all pretty, and then there's gonna be a log jam, for the number 1 seed? Like,
well, in theory, I guess I could look at their schedule as having a bit of fool's gold like the Eagles do. They beat Green Bay, which at the time looked like a really good win. Now, not so much. But at the time, that did look good.
Right. It's kind of like college. Okay, now we're starting to do the playoffs. We're the committee, and we look at your body of work. 2 weeks ago, yeah, that was an impressive win. Now that team is absolutely horrible. So now I got to grade you less.
Yeah, they lost to Philly. Philly's been on fire.
Exactly. So and that was their only one. So no, they have done it. I just need to see. I need a game that tells me, okay, you're legit.
Then they go on a 6-game winning streak. Detroit, no. New Orleans,
no. Detroit's the game. You win that game, I'm giving it to you. You're in. You are in.
New Orleans.
Yeah. No.
I don't
Anyone
know. I
from
don't.
the
I don't want to
NFC
give too
South.
much credit for that. That was
Anyone
my
from the
point.
NFC
I don't.
South is no. You get no credit. Even if you beat the Bucs, you get no credit. That's a why didn't you? That's a why didn't you beat them by 12, by 13?
That's right. You only won by 3.
You only won by 3. So what happened?
Hell, you only beat Detroit by 4.
It's that vaulted defense. They stopped Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers is the greatest of all time, like everybody thinks. So no, that's why Detroit is moving up.
Chicago? No. Nah.
No.
Certainly not at that point in the year. Certainly not in week 5.
Week 5. The week 5 Bears.
They beat Miami. I don't recall if Tua was in that game. I want to say no. And they only won by 8. So if you're beating Miami by 8 with no Tua, that's like beating Detroit by 4 or New Orleans by 3.
True. Very true.
Arizona, but I mean they've kind of been a mess. They've been a real mess this year, so that's not too much.
They'll give you a competitive game, but yeah, there at no point should you be down by like 11 points. Like, they may, trade a cut touchdown with you and then you just throttle them.
I can't even say they'll give you a competitive game. They'll give you a competitive fourth quarter.
Yeah, there you go. So you better put up like 40 points in the first 3.
Yeah. And then, of course, the game today against Washington. So it's
like we said, you can't pick who you play. 7-1 is 7-1. I just need him. I need a statement game. I need a statement game from him and Dak, and then I'm going to say, okay, welcome to the A team.
My A. I guess if I had to pick one in the AFC, I guess it probably would be KC because Mahomes is doing this with throwing to UPS drivers.
Hey, Juju is he's a FedEx driver. He's high class. Now, it's not like he's got horrible talent around him. It's just they fit that offense. That offense you couldn't. There aren't many quarterbacks you could put on KC and they would function as well. Let's just be factual about it because of the skill set, But their defense is adequate. That's the problem. They have an adequate defense.
Yeah. Bend don't break.
Exactly. And KC has had times where they've been stopped and they've needed some miracle magic to pull it out. So, but I think overall them and Buffalo are as complete as it gets right now in the league. They've had statement games.
If you asked me 2 weeks ago or even last week before the second half, I probably would have given Buffalo an A2, but letting their foot off the gas pedal against Green Bay, and then this disaster against the Jets, like that takes a hit down. They beat Baltimore by a more convincing fashion in my eyes, and Baltimore was up big on them. So like to me, like Buffalo, yeah, they look good, but right now you're only half game in first on top of the Jets. I just can't give that an A anymore. 2 weeks ago, yeah, it would have been a slam dunk in the books, grade A plus even. But now I can't. I can't trust this team right now.
Yeah, but you can't hold Buffalo accountable for the Jets actually playing well either.
It shouldn't matter. You're playing the MILF hunter. Your defense should get 5 picks off that man.
But here's the thing, like. They really didn't let him throw a lot. Like, honestly, they game managed him. They game managed the MILF hunter. Let's be honest here. After what he did last week, they told you, okay, buddy, you need to calm it down. This isn't BYU. You can't be over here just running and chucking and you think everything's going to be grand. They tailored that offense a lot better. And the Bills dropped the ball. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. But no one thought the Jets were going to go 6-3.
No.
So you can't blame Buffalo for that. Buffalo can only do what Buffalo can do. But yeah, now Buffalo's got to look at themselves and say, hey.
Well, even in that light, they still got to bring their A down. Josh had 2 picks today.
Kirk Cousins, he's a phenom.
Well, I didn't say that.
He's lucky. He's only lost one. He only lost one game and almost lost to Tyler Haneke.
You want to do surprises next, or
right.
or F
surprises? Because I got my surprise. I'm good.
You can't take Seattle.
Oh, why not?
Because it's too obvious.
All right. So you want me to pick a truly under the radar squad?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, there ain't that many. Most of them are 3 and 6. I don't know. All right. Oof.
It could also be a bad surprise, like someone who's not necessarily.
All right. You know what? No, I've got one. No, I got one.
Okay.
I got one. I'm going to take the Falcons. All right. Now, they truly have a hodgepodge of talent. I think everyone probably thought Mariota was going to be like a 1-year rental kind of piece or whatever. Didn't know what they were going to get. And they've been competitive.
Shit, I thought he was going to be a 3-week rental piece.
They're all waiting for Ritter. Wait for him. They've stayed in games. They're competitive. They're tied for the actually no, they're second because they did lose to Tampa, but they're in the mix for a division title. So I don't think anyone would have thought they would have been close this late in the season. So I'm gonna take the Falcons. I think the Falcons, they're a fun watch. I think at some point they will, fall apart a little more. But hey, 4 and 5, you're in the mix. There you go.
Yeah, I like that pick because I would have if you asked me which team was going to be in last place, I probably would have said them because I certainly wouldn't have said Tampa.
No,
and I figured even with New Orleans' quarterback issues, their defense was still going to be good enough to keep them competitive. So I wouldn't have expected them to be in last. And Carolina, that was a lot of that team still had a lot of talent. For the disappointment that they've been, they still had a ton of talent. So to say Carolina was last place, I don't know if I necessarily would have bought that.
I would have said they would have been a 500 team. But yeah, what they are now is far from what I thought they were going to be. So
mine's definitely the Jets. Well, actually, no. Mine's the Giants. Mine's their roommate.
Ooh, the Giants.
Mine's the Giants because the Giants, as little as the Jets have to work with, somehow the Giants have even less.
Yeah, that's true.
And they're in their game better.
That's true. That's true. I'll give you that. I don't know. I think everyone is just waiting for the collective wheels just to fall.
Yeah, I think the fall from grace for the Giants will be a lot quicker than the fall from grace for the Jets, which is sounds wrong to say.
No, it does. It does. If you're looking back at like 10, 15 years, yeah, that definitely sounds. I agree with that. Yeah, like I guess people are, it's a feel good. Daniel Jones finally, kind of coming out and being a quarterback because everyone was just like, oh, Danny Dimes, they're just going to junk him. Didn't sign him for his 5th year, so this is his prove-it year, and he was going to fall apart. So, yeah, at some point, it's all going to fall apart, I think, because like this season has been the most crazy. This has been the craziest season in a long time, let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
So I think at some point, yeah, it will start to fall apart and for the very start next week. All it takes is one Saquon injury and it's a wrap. Because Saquon is basically holding that offense together. Danny Dimes is doing a decent job, but I can't name 3 of their wide receivers.
Darius Slayton is a 4 on any other team.
Him, you trade away your last year's number 1 pick. The guy you spent money on, he doesn't even see the field. Galladay doesn't even see the field. So, like, who are you running out there? The beer vendor? I don't know.
Hey, maybe they'll give Plaxico a phone call. Maybe he'll come back.
Yeah, there you go. I'm sure David Tyree's not busy.
Oh, here we go.
What? What? All I said was David Tyree's not busy. I didn't say anything. Whatever. Mark Bavaro might have some time on his hands.
Hey, maybe Jason Sehorn wants to play the other way now.
Jason Sehorn. Oh my goodness. Phil McConkey and the Funky Bunch. Yeah, sure.
Maybe your boy at the Tampa games, Joe Jurevicius' biggest fan. Maybe he can put up the Giants jersey.
Oh, Jurevicius. Yes. There it is. See? There you go. Whatever.
All right.
Like I said, they put it together with, bubble gum and sticks, smoke and mirrors. But at some point, teams are going to figure it out. But for now, give them their due.
All right, the moment everyone wants to hear.
Yes.
Make some bulletin board material.
Oh,
Who's your F?
My F. Oh.
I should make things interesting by saying I'm not allowed to take the Colts and you're not allowed to take the Packers.
Okay, because you knew I was taking the Packers.
Oh, I know it. Yeah.
There was no doubt, man. I had that F burned in.
Hell, I wanted to take the Packers.
All right. So if I had to pick, okay, my F, Denver.
Oh, let's ride.
Yeah, Mr. Let's Ride, Mr. Oh, I don't have good enough pieces here in Seattle, so I'm gonna go. So send me somewhere where I can be a star. Oh, I love Denver. We're ready to go. Everyone's ready to anoint them the AFC West. I won't lie. I said they probably were going to be a 10-team, a 10-win team there. I figured that was going to be the best division in football. Lo and behold, I was wrong. But no, I was darn wrong. No, I'm good now. Mind you, I could take Tampa too. I could take the Rams, but I'm gonna take Denver because they've got the pieces there. Just for some reason they can't get it right. I don't know if it's the coach. I don't know if Russ all of a sudden is falling off the cliff. Maybe all of a sudden he's just not good.
I do think there is a significant portion of blame on the coach. I think to have this defense that, despite all their mediocrity of late, has still maintained a high level of play. To keep that defense, to have all the weapons, all these backs, I don't know how many of them are good, but Lord knows the bodies are still there. And then you throw in an established quarterback, you got to have a coach to try and figure out how to put that together.
Here's my question then. Does Russ not get to, if he's out there and he sees something, does he not have the freedom to say, okay, you know what, I want to change this up. This is what I'm seeing. Or do they say, no, Russ, this is what we're doing and here it is?
I feel like he might not. And if he doesn't, he's got to have some serious buyer's remorse about that trade.
$240-something million of, I see something different. I can't change that.
That's right. And he's probably has to keep his mouth shut now for his own ego's sake, because that was his gripe in Seattle. He couldn't call his plays. Now you're with a guy who has a lot less credibility than Pete Carroll, and you still can't call your own plays.
And then they ship off arguably their best defensive player to Miami. So now you still have pieces on defense, but what is this offense? Because I don't even know. You've got talent. It's just whether Russ can do it or not. And right now he's not. So nope. For all the hype, Denver's my F.
Oh man.
Honorable mention Rams.
Rams are pretty bad.
I'll give them a D-.
Oh. Now I could stay in the AFC West and go with the Raiders. Because Lord knows I love to dump on them. All those toys. Waller can't stay on the field. Renfro can't stay on the field. But even with that, I mean, Adams by himself is a damn near 20 touchdown target. And nobody started. So, like, figure this shit out. So, like, I could go with the Raiders. The Packers is just too damn easy.
That is, but it feels so good.
Yeah.
But it feels so good.
That is the lowest of low-hanging fruit.
And sometimes you just don't want to put the effort in. Just let me go.
And then my other option, honestly, is the Cardinals.
You can go Cardinals. I would agree with that.
I think this was make or break for Kyler. I think it was make or break for Kingsbury. Like they played a little bit of fire with James Conner, but they didn't exactly get a gift with Hopkins being suspended. But even so, like if you're supposedly this brilliant offensive mind and this wonderkind young quarterback, you have to figure this shit out.
I don't think the air raid works in the NFL. It's been 3-4 years that they've tried this. It just doesn't work.
It had a peak. It had a peak, and then the peak disappeared.
Yeah, there was a bump. You hit it up, and then it just bottomed out.
Yeah.
I don't think that the offense is really tailored to Kyler. I don't. Yeah, James Conner, you caught lightning in a bottle for like a year, but you really should have thought, was this really, really going to last? No. Then you sign, AJ Green. Okay, no. If you need a warm body on the bench, there you go. But no.
That's where he's going to be hanging out.
Exactly. Zach Ertz is solid at tight end. Like, they've got an offense. Offense is decent. Like, they can score points. The defense is adequate. Letting what's his name walk to the Raiders wasn't the smartest move.
Is that where Patterson went? Not Patterson. Is that where he went?
No, I'm drawing a blank, and I hate when I draw a blank. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it. I can't be drawing blanks. That's horrible.
Linebacker?
Yeah, played for New England, and we traded him because he was smoking that funky stuff, that synthetic marijuana.
Chandler Jones.
Yes, Chandler Jones. See, forgot about him. It's been so long, I forgot his name. Chandler Jones. He leaves. They still, like I said, decent defense, but it's that offense is rough, and they've got to figure it out. I think Cliff's going to get canned. If you're going to ask, like, which couple coaches are ready to get booted out, he's going to be the first one on my list. I think he's going to get bounced. They're going to hire a Kyler-friendly coach, bring in some other pieces, and then for the first year they'll be in the mix a bit, and then maybe that's what he needs, or it'll fall apart again. But they're a mess.
Do you think Kyler regrets not picking baseball?
No, I don't think so. I think
because he was drafted.
No, he was. He would have been playing in Oakland. I don't know if he'd want to play in Oakland.
Well, he wouldn't be getting hit as much.
Well, he wouldn't, but the plumbing doesn't work in the Oakland Coliseum. Everybody knows this.
Yeah, well, that's true.
And no one goes to games. Like he would have went free agent and left. I don't think it was an issue of him coming to the league. I think it's that playbook. I don't think that playbook works for him. They've got to change it up. I think it will once they fire Cliff. And they'll go from there. If he didn't want to be there, they wouldn't have signed him to that nice, that nice contract, and all that. I think a lot of those guys this year, to prove it, it's going to be you got to prove it if you want to be here, or you're basically playing for your jobs at this point.
Well, you know what? That's a fun little game to play before we wrap up. Black Monday.
Ooh, Black Monday.
Josh
McDaniel. 1 year gone.
My obvious choice.
Waller.
My obvious choice is Frank. My obvious choice is Frank. Frank's gone. Got to be.
I can't. No. I would give Frank 1 more year. You can't. The injuries and stuff, like, come on. Frank has been dealt a bad hand.
No.
It wasn't his fault that Taylor got hurt.
But I'm looking back on the last few years. This year is just the culmination of all the miserableness. Like, his play calling has gotten so bad after halftime in the last couple of years. Like, I cannot justify the Colts keeping Frank Reich. I just cannot justify it. He has to go. This guy was a genius his first couple of years in the league. And he was a genius when he was with Philly and they won the Super Bowl. Now, he looks like Byron Leftwich this year for you.
I see.
And last year he looked like Byron Leftwich.
Byron Leftwich was a genius. The man just lucked out getting the GOAT. That's all that was. Anyone's going to look good your first year. Come on now.
Shout out to Corey of Connecticut Vlogs. Thanks for hopping on. Before we wrap up, what other? So you got McDaniels. I got Frank.
See, it's just because I don't like McDaniels. If you want me to be honest, I've got to be objective. And if I'm being objective, it's Cliff in Arizona. He's got to go.
Yeah.
I would give Frank one more year. I think Frank can develop a young quarterback. Because here's the thing: did Frank want Matty Ice? Like, did he want him, or was that the best available?
Regardless of what it was, he should have been able to make it work. If he's the genius, if he's an offensive genius, he should have been able to make that work.
They should have. Then you know what? They should have probably got him some better receivers. Like, the receiving core is rough. Like, let's be honest. If you
ain't
look
gotta tell me that. I've been screaming for receivers for 3 years.
But at the end of the day, maybe they said, nope, this is what we want to do. Like, maybe they're not listening to Frank. I think Frank should get one more year. And this is what happens. You got to say, okay, Frank goes up there with his wish list. I need a legit tight end if it's available. If there's a free agent legit one, if not, then you need to draft me one. I need some wide receivers. Like, we need something here. And we go from there. And anything on the defensive end. Like Shaq, a.k.a. Darius, you need to come back. Like, let's get this right.
Yeah.
And then if he still can't do it, then go ahead and boot him out. I think he's a solid coach. I just think I just think a lot of things haven't gone right. But I think he gets one more year as opposed to Cliff, who just needs to go.
Right. Well, Cliff, I'm 100% with you. He definitely has to go. But I think Frank's in that mix too. I think the Colts have just a completely clean house. Ballard gone, Frank gone. Trade everybody but Taylor and Leonard.
I think Ballard would need one more year of really bad, horrible situations to get bounced. I think he's beloved out there still.
Predicting wise, yes. I don't think he's going to get canned. I personally think he deserves to be canned right now, but I don't think he will. No. Scapegoat picks. Do you think Lovie Smith and Hackett out in Denver are scapegoats?
I think Lovie is, no doubt. Lovie is just a placeholder till they decide what they want. Like, let's just be realistic. No one would have touched that job. Who would have wanted to coach Houston? Nobody. After all that, no one would have went there. I don't care what college coach. If you coached at Kalamazoo State Technical University, a chef or whatever, no one would have went there. Hackett, no, I think Hackett, I think Hackett has a talent. I think this is a bad situation because of how everything came about. And now you have you've got this offense. You got Russ. You're supposed to win right away. And now that you're not, you look like the bad guy. I think real people will look at it and be like, maybe it's Russ. Maybe you guys were so hot to get somebody that you needed somebody that you bought the first thing. It's like when you want to buy a car and you test drive the first car and you're like, no, this is it. And you're like, rule is you test a couple, you have a few in mind, and then go from there. But you bought the first shiny thing you saw, and now you're sitting here going, oh, well, I really don't like this, but now I'm with it. So I don't blame Hackett per se, but he'll be there next year. But they're going to have to figure this out.
Yeah. Corey says he was hoping for a beer review. Well, but you know what, my man? You're still entertained right now, I bet. And let's put a little bit of an interesting spin on Black Monday for Corey's next comment. Obviously, Bill is not going to get fired, but do you think this is still it for Bill?
If I had my way, he'd been fired years ago. Okay, I've got to be unbiased. Do I think this is it? No, I don't. I think Bill will leave when he just wants to leave, when he's ready to say, you know what, I'm done. It might be a situation where he talks to Kraft, and who knows who the next coach is. Maybe is that the deal? Maybe it's a situation where he's like, I want one of my sons to take over. This is who I would hand it over to. And Kraft would be like, okay, fine. Whenever you're ready, this is what we're going to do. Now, would it be Gerard Mayo? Former player. Maybe he's going to find a job elsewhere and then he'll leave. Who knows? I think that's one of the great secrets of the NFL. Maybe he wants to beat Shula's record and then say, I'm done. Here are the keys. No one else is going to do it. Maybe he wants to do it that way. I don't know. But I don't know if he's a year to year, but I would say probably in 2 to 3 years, start looking at it and saying, Once if they start losing, then he may just leave. He may say, I'm done. But as long as they're somewhat in the mix and somewhat competitive, he's going to ride it out, I guess.
How does the world's biggest Tom Brady fan feel about this comment?
No, he's playing until he's 50. 50. He's going to get another 3 rings until Giselle to kiss it.
Couple more just for the hell of it. Obviously, Matt Rule already got canned, so that's going to be open at the end of the year.
Yeah, we were counting the days on that.
Yeah.
we were counting the days. We were just waiting.
We were riding together in a truck when it happened. In your truck when it happened.
Exactly.
Who's guys in there? I think they're both in their second year. Well, no, one's in their first year. Do you think Eberflus and Motor City Dan Campbell should be held accountable for the Lions and the Bears struggles this year?
All right. Oof.
And you know what? I'll make this a three-peat. I'll throw Dennis Allen in it too.
See, I can't with Dennis Allen because he inherited that team. He was hired because he knew what Peyton was doing. He knew the system. So they felt it was easy just to keep a company guy in there to keep it going. Let's be honest. It wasn't like Dennis Allen is this offensive juggernaut who knows, who could run that offense better than Sean Payton. So we put the company guy. These guys know the voice. It's comfortable. We go with it. Unfortunately, injuries have taken place. That team is not what it was last year, and now he's got to figure it out. Can't blame him, but probably next year they're going to look, and if they really start to bottom out, they may look elsewhere. The Lions, I think next year will be Dan Campbell's last year if they don't show serious improvement. I think everyone still loves the Lions. It's still that feel-good story. I think today will help with that legacy and feel-good story. Let's be honest. They beat the Packers, beat Aaron Rodgers. He's going to be looked at this week as, great Dan Campbell. Great job coaching. But they really need to figure out what they want to do. They can run the ball. They've got a great run game. That defense is just ridiculously horrible. A lot of young guys. They showed up this week, but they've got to fix it. They've got to fix that defense. As for the Bears, it all depends what they do with Justin Fields. If they can build around him, then it could be good. I think Justin this week played a hell of a game. I think what they need to do is build that offense around what Justin is. And I think if they do that defense has always been steady. It's been steady. It's not horrible. You can always build it through the draft and such. Pick up maybe a key piece in free agency. But I think the Bears may be seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. we'll have to wait and see. If Fields continues what he's doing now, then yeah, I think they're in a good spot.
The Eagles will not have an opening on Black Monday, Corey. No. But scrub back when we're done, maybe half hour, 40 minutes or so, and maybe you'll see some shit talk about the Eagles.
The most
we did rip them apart this week a lot more than we did in the last couple weeks.
That's true. That is true. Schedule friendly.
That's right. Last one before we say goodnight. Obviously, this is not going to happen, but after this season is over, do you think Sean McVay's seat is in any bit warm, or is he just the Mike Tomlin of the NFC? Where it doesn't matter how bad a season he has, he's still safe in his job. Or has he got any kind of heat on that seat?
I think it turns up a little bit. You basically mortgaged your franchise for your Super Bowl, no picks. You basically gave it away, and everyone debates that now. Back in the day, everyone hoarded picks because that's what you did. You got as many picks as you could, and you went and got as many as you could, drafted, and hopefully, whatever you threw against the wall stuck, and you end up maybe with couple decent guys, or you use those as trade bait. Now, the Rams kind of prove the point. Trade it all away, get yourself a prime player ready for now, and then deal with it later. McVay has kind of hinted that if he didn't want to coach, he would just leave. He'd be fine with leaving, because there was talk. Remember when Aaron Donald, in the offseason, I'm going to retire. I won my Super Bowl. I'm good. I don't know if McVay would leave. I don't think he would leave it if let's say they went like 5-12 or so. I don't think he would leave them in that much of a shambles, or they would fire him. They're going to let him kind of leave on his own since he got him the Super Bowl. But I don't know what they're going to do. I really don't. That team's in flux, and they're getting older. Let's be honest. You have Cooper Kupp and a bunch of I don't know what on offense. Let's be real. They can't run the ball. They brought back Cam Akers because nobody wanted Cam Akers, but they were able to fix the problem, whatever that was. No one's saying. So he's back. I think he played like 10, 12 snaps today and had like 5 yards. Allen Robinson is horrible. The worst sign. He's just ridiculous. I don't know why anybody thinks he's good. He is just horrible.
Allen Robinson might get more hate from you than the Green Bay Packers.
It's because they make it sound like he's this unbelievable talent. He's not good. I think he caught a first down, and you know how everyone does the drop the ball and the point. I'm like, okay, do your 20-minute dance because that's all you're going to do because you can't do anything else. You're horrible. You're horrible. Van Jefferson dropped a wide open pass. That's just – that team now is just a hodgepodge. So I don't think he'd be on a hot seat, but give it 2 or 3 years because I don't know how much longer Stafford's really going to have it. He's starting to get nicked up a bit more and more. They hit him hard today. I'll tell you that much. So,
Shaq Barrett, go have supper.
I wish it was Shaq. Shaq's out for the year.
Oh, my bad.
It was Vita Vea, the man beast. Love that man, Vita. So I don't know. I think McVay's a good coach. By all means, I think he's talented. But yeah, just giving it all away, I just don't believe in that. Maybe I'm just old school in that way. Just to win 1 year and then be somewhat relative for the next couple. And then you've got no money because you got to pay these guys. You end up like the Saints in cap hell.
Yeah, forever.
Exactly.
And ever.
And you won't see the light until 1-7, 1-16.
Yeah.
So
I think Corey's comment sums that up. I can't believe their record. There's a lot of disbelief out in Los Angeles.
Yep, there is. But you get what you pay for, and now I don't even know what it is.
Well, the Titans are actually giving the Chiefs a ball game, so why don't we Why do we bid adieu just shy of 2 hours and go watch some football?
I think we should. See that? See that? The team that backed into the first round. See that? Look at that. Handling business, Chase. Handling business. You give them some respect.
Never. The Tennessee Titans never get any respect.
You're getting a Tennessee Titans jersey for Christmas. Who you want?
Oh, and I know exactly what player will be on that jersey.
Which one?
Oh, you
Who do
know.
you think?
Big old 9-0 back in the day.
Oh, no. I'm getting you a current one. I'm going to get you a current guy.
Okay.
I don't even know 3/4 of their names, but I'm going to get you somebody.
It can't be Henry. No, don't take the easy way out.
No, of course not. I would never do that. Who's the punter? Who's number 4? He looks like what's his name from Nickelback? Chad Kroger. That's who you're getting. Number 4. He looks like a poor man, Chad Kroger. That's who you're getting. And
I would take a specialist jersey. There's probably no one else in the world wearing that man's jersey.
Probably not. Just his wife and his kids.
Yeah.
His parents don't even. They're like, no.
The one family with a disabled kid that he allows to come to the game when he feels like doing a charitable thing and
you saying the Make-A-Wish kid? You're horrible, Chase. You're horrible.
What? There could be a Make-A-Wish kid that's a huge Titans fan and wants to go to a game and the punter hooks him up. It could happen.
That's what Derrick Henry does. That kid is not asking for. I think his guy's name's like Bob Kerr. He's not asking for Bob Kerr's jersey. He's asking for freaking Derrick Henry. Still don't know how he fits that braid in that helmet. Good Lord, that's impressive. I don't know how he does that. God bless him. Chase, I got a question for you. If someone offered you like $10,000, would you let Derrick Henry run in? Would you try to tackle Derrick Henry? 10 G's.
No, because I never see a dime of that $10,000 because I'd be 6 feet under after.
All right, so you won't die. You may talk with a bad slur the rest of your life, but would you do it for like 10 G's? But you get a helmet and everything. Like, I'm not putting you out there like Bear. But he's running at you. That's the only caveat. He is running at you, full speed.
I could prepare myself.
Okay.
I could prepare myself and take the check.
All right. That's all I wanted to know. Just make sure you don't eat anything because you're going to let any fluid you've got out.
I'm going to be like, what was his name in The Longest Yard? What was his name? With a B.
Oh, what was his name?
Benny, something like that. What the hell is
exactly. But you know what? You got a $10,000 check, man. You take that. I'll do it. I'll take it. All right. This is just a question. I'm curious. You know.
If I'm not decapitated, dead, or losing all function of my limbs for the rest of my life, sure.
See, and he'll give you a jersey. There you go.
He better, because then I'll be the Make-A-Wish kid.
I can't. This is how this show has gone. Show's gone down.
Right.
This show has gone down the rails horribly.
I'm just glad that's how the show ends, when we're delirious as opposed to the way it starts. Although after this,
that's true, because at that point any viewership is gone. At that point,
right.
We've already ended it.
Although after this week, we could have both been delirious to start the show anyway. If Brady didn't do what he did, and after the Colts performance today, we could have been delirious today.
That's true. That's true.
Count your blessings.
Yeah, that is very true. Very true. A blessing.
Oh, final minute. What's your final word on the week?
Final word is the GOAT, Tom Brady. Greatest 40 seconds of your lives, folks. If you ain't seen it yet, watch it. Poetry in motion. If the Bucs would do that, they probably would be 5-3, not 3-5. Or sorry, they'd be 5-4, not 4-5. But you know what? Halfway through the season, I just don't know. There's so much up in the air. That's why we love this game. Short, sweet, and to the point. And we'll see what happens. I don't know.
My final word is Jim Irsay, get on the bottle again and start firing people.
Chase, we're not doing these things. We're not doing these things. Mr. Irsay, just be professional, be responsible. Your health is important. We love the league. Don't fire him. Don't fire Frank. I'm gonna start tweeting that. Don't fire Frank. Frank Reich, one more year. Just draft a quarterback. And just hope he doesn't leave after like 5 years.
Well, yeah, we tried that. That's exactly what happened.
You guys just 1 year them and that's it. We only do 1 year deals.
That's right.
The heartache is too much.
All right, my friend. Enjoy
Sir,
this. Enjoy this Titans game and enjoy this mess we have to watch tomorrow night.
Oh, I can't wait.
Later, peeps. Thanks for watching. Thanks for everyone's going to watch on replay later. Deuce.